Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you live from beautiful Budapest in Central Europe. I hope everybody has had a great start to this last week of September. Today we are kicking off this week's live IELTS classes with speaking part 1. The materials are brought to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS, and for general, check us out at gieltshelp.com. On both of those websites, we have lots of materials for you to get those high band scores. Hi Nishan, hi Avaz. Hello our member Xing Hung, hi our member Danish, and everybody else joining in. Murasa, it's good to see you in class after a long time. I'm doing very well, Danish. Thank you for asking. Students, don't forget to download our app, Academic IELTS Help, from Android Play, Google Play Store, or from the Apple App Store. Our websites, they look like this. This is the academic with the blue background. Click that red button to join there. And for the general, it's the green background. Click that red button. Lots of practice exams, computer-based versions of the test, as well as a self-study interactive course and over 100 hours of video lessons for you. Students, I have posted the schedule for this class on the channel. If you have questions, you can send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. And you can get our books from Amazon, AE Helps Academic IELTS or GE Helps General IELTS. Anif, we don't share our WhatsApp, but we do have Skype. If you book speaking sessions with us, you can do that in your My Student account on the websites. And you can practice your speaking face-to-face with me or another native English speaking professional. Students, I want to start this speaking class off by giving you a chance to ask questions about the speaking section. So I know that I don't always leave a lot of time for questions, and you can always ask questions during the class, but I thought I'd give you a chance for the first couple of minutes in this class, 3-4 minutes, to just ask me questions about the IELTS speaking section that you're not sure of, or that you've always wondered how it works or what happens, and I will answer those for you. So, any question? Abhishek says, how do I prepare for speaking part 2? Okay. So that's a good question. So this is a question by Abhishek. I'll answer that real quick. So Abhishek is asking, how do I prepare for speaking part 2? Okay, so there are a lot of different strategies in practice, but here are a couple of the main ones. So number one, use your phone to record your part 2 responses. Listen back, correct, and respond again. Okay, that's one really important step, Abhishek. Another really important step, students, for preparing for speaking part 2 is practice giving answers for topics about A, people, B, objects, C, places, D, ideas, E, events. Okay, so in the IELTS for speaking part 2, They keep switching up the topic, and it's almost equal balance. So about 20% of the time, they ask about people. So talk about a smart person that you know. They ask about objects about 20% of the time. So talk about an object that is very small but very valuable, or places also about 20%. So discuss a place that you have visited where you would like to move. Okay. D, ideas. So talk about an idea that you had to help society. And then events, discuss a happy event in your life. So all of those topics have a specific way to describe them. Now, that's a really big lesson that I can't get into, but Abhishek, to answer your question briefly, these are two key elements or two key strategies that you need to think of for part 2. So think about using your phone, record your answers, listen back, make corrections, write it down if you're not sure of your mistakes. Make corrections, and then respond and record again. Don't just jump into new topics every time, okay? And then, of course, the other one is practice giving answers for each of these. Okay, I see there's lots more questions, so I'll just take a few more at random. Okay. So Satisfying Times is asking, sir, can you please make a video about all types of essays and structures for each? Satisfying Times, that's not a speaking topic, so let's focus on speaking topics for this class, okay? Arif is asking, how much time will part 2 take? So part 2, the instructions, Arif Khan, say that it's 1 to 2 minutes, okay? If you can answer all of the questions on the card in 1 minute with good detail, the examiner might stop you. That probably means you're a band 9 level student. If you're going completely off topic and you're not talking about the right ideas, they might also stop you at 1 minute. Otherwise, in many situations, they'll give you about 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes to express your ideas. Okay? All right. Kisan is asking a good question. So Kisan Kadka is asking, what is the best strategies to improve English errors such as grammar and vocabulary? And I'm guessing this is in speaking, right? So Kisan is asking, how do I improve, or what is the best way to improve mistakes in English, like grammar? And instead of vocabulary, I'm going to use word choice. That's what we see as common mistakes. A word choice mistake, students, is where basically a student or person is choosing the wrong word in the situation. Okay? So the first answer for you, Kishan, is feedback. You must get feedback from professionals, hopefully native speakers. Okay. Then you must correct and practice. So doing self-study is okay, but it's much faster when you get professional feedback on your mistakes. And so you have to practice with the feedback that you get from professionals, okay? So seek feedback. That's my number one advice for improving your grammar and your word choice. Also, the second one is immerse yourself in native English as much as possible. This is especially for word choice. Okay, so I still don't think that students spend enough time or as much time as they can with English in their day-to-day life, okay? And I understand why, because it's tiring, because we want to express ourselves clearly in our own language. But at the same extent, really the best way to learn the correct use of words in English and to mimic or copy a native speaker as much as possible is to surround yourself with English. So this means watch movies in English, read books in English, find an English conversation partner. Okay, so all of those steps will help you improve your word choice and your grammar. You have to do them. I know many of you are thinking, yeah, Adrian, I know that. I've heard that 100 times. But the question is, do you do it? Do you do it enough? So think about that, okay? Always try to do it a bit more. All right, I'll take one more question before we get going with the speaking questions for today. Okay, it's a very nice question from Izatulu Kanoatov. So Izatulu is asking this question, and this is a good one to kick off today's class. So Izatulu is asking, what are the main factors to get a high mark or get high marks? We're going to say band 7 to 9 in the speaking section. Okay, so there's basically a 3-stage approach to create your mark in the speaking section. Okay, it goes coherence. So coherence means how easy it is to understand your answers. Okay, complexity. Complexity means the range of vocabulary and grammar that you can use. And then the third one is natural. Now, the reason that I drew a Venn diagram here, and this is called a Venn diagram for those of you who are into math, is because these circles are showing that these 3 concepts or these 3 ideas are connected, they're related to each other. So when you can use complex grammar like present perfect or conditionals or adjective clauses, then of course that will help you to increase your coherence mark. So you will be more easily understood, more specifically understood by an English speaker or an examiner if you're able to use complex language. Of course, if you're using complex language like present perfect and conditionals, then your mark for being natural will also increase. Notice how I've just used it several times, that if you're able to use complex language, then you're natural. So I'm actually using complex language in my explanation, thereby creating natural, coherent language. So that will help your natural score go up as well. Now, of course, that's the same idea. The more natural you sound, the more coherent you sound. So the better your pronunciation, the better your choice of words, the more you are coherent. Okay? So to answer your question as simply as possible, Isa Tulo, those are the 3 elements that you have to pay attention to, is speaking coherently, naturally, and with complexity. Okay. Now, within that, so hopefully that's clear for everyone, within these concepts, what you want to do is answer the question, answer the specific question, give a clear explanation, and often include a smooth flowing example. Okay, like the other day I did this. Okay, so those are the most important elements to think about to get those high band scores. Sometimes students ask, well, how many sentences should I answer for speaking part 1 and 3? It's difficult to say, but usually it's 2, maximum 3 sentences, especially if they're complex. Complex sentences can be quite lengthy depending on the grammar. Okay, so that's what you have to focus on. All right, I know there are lots and lots more questions. I'll try to get to some more throughout the class. If I don't get to your question in today's 1 hour, then just send it to me by email, adrian@aehelp.com, and I will gladly help you out, okay? All right, everyone, so let's practice speaking part 1 now. And again, it's great that we're using the chat and we're communicating with our fingers. I would also ask you to use the muscles of your mouth, your tongue, use your auditory senses, your hearing, and listen and repeat the questions and the answers, okay? So speak and repeat as we do this class. Speak, repeat. All right, practice your English. This is going back to the second question, a great way to improve your grammar and word choice. All right. Okay, here we go. So you walk into the exam room, you're feeling confident. Don't care about what the examiner looks like. They're there to do a job. All they're doing is asking you some questions that they have on a sheet. They don't need to be happy. They don't need to be angry. They don't need to smile or frown. They just need to do their job. They will record you for marking purposes. As long as they are asking you the questions in a normal way, they're doing their job. So don't worry about their behavior. Don't worry about any other element of the situation. Just focus on yourself. Here we go. The examiner asks the question, "May I see your identification?" Of course, this means the identification you used to register. So be natural. You will be asked this question. It's not a maybe, it's a definite. So practice some nice, good, clear answers for this. Okay. Charlie says, "Yes, certainly, please have a look." It's good, Charlie said. Ashwin says, "Certainly, here you are. Please take a look." It's good. Kyle Byrne says, "Sure, here's my passport. Please have a look." That works well. Zainab says, "Sure, please have a look." Amar Wadi, "Certainly, here you are. Please have a look at my passport." Maybe including passport's a little bit wordy. Fernando says, "My examiner kept interrupting me with why instead of giving me room to answer fully. So annoying." That's okay, Fernando. Just keep going. As soon as they say why, start with because. Okay? And then continue. Pachu says, "Yes, of course, here you are." You can also answer it as definitely. Please have a look. Okay, so instead of certainly, you can use definitely. Definitely, please have a look. Here you are. Okay, I like to be a little bit more long drawn here just to be polite. Okay, and a very common question, icebreaker, to make you feel a little bit more calm is just asking you a question that most students will have a good answer for. So, do you work or study? So give me a nice full sentence answer for the question, do you work or study? Okay. Shubi Sheb, good to see a new member in this class. Okay, Dank says, "I'm currently studying." So this is where the examiner will go, why? Why are you studying? Okay, so answer, explain, example. Kyle says, currently I'm not only a student of IELTS, but I also enjoy my part-time job. Why, Kyle? Danish says, I remember Danish says, at the moment I'm a full-time employee. Danish, not employment. So one more time. At the moment, I'm a full-time employee in a startup company, App Sriv Technologies. Interestingly, I'm working in this organization for the last 2 years, and my designation is an Android developer. I'm not sure why that's interesting, Danish. I wouldn't use the word there, but I would just go from I am working. Muntaha, well, I study psychology in Prince Nur University, which is located here in Riyadh. Muntaha, by the way, just a quick note for all of you students from Saudi Arabia, we are an official IELTS registration center on our website. So if you're a student from Saudi Arabia and you want us to register for your next IELTS exam, you can do it through us. So that's kind of a cool feature on our websites, and we're working on getting other countries as well. All right. So for the do you work or study, give a full answer. Give your reason. So currently, or recently, I've been studying for this IELTS exam so I can continue my psychology studies at the University of Victoria in Canada next year. Also, I do work in an elementary school part-time as a counselor. Okay. So here we go. Repeat after me. Do you work or study? Recently, I've been studying for this IELTS exam so I can continue my psychology studies at the University of Victoria in Canada next year. Also, I do work in an elementary school part-time as a counselor. Now, students, I strongly recommend that when possible, for these warm-up questions, the do you work or study, this is present tense, right? If you have a present tense question, okay, then you can answer present tense with present perfect or present perfect continuous. I've been studying. And it's definitely a good idea to show right away to the examiner that you are confident with these complex grammar forms. Immediately, you're natural, you're complex, and you're coherent, okay? So recently, I've been studying for this IELTS exam so I can continue my psychology studies at the University of Victoria in Canada next year. Also, I do work in an elementary school part-time as a counselor, okay? So show the examiner as soon as possible that you're confident with these complex grammar forms. And yes, your band score will go up because even in this part, for the icebreakers, the examiner is marking and paying attention to your language and communication. Okay? Questions are fishing for grammar. Here's the next question. How did you get to this exam? So give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. How did you get to this exam? Okay. So Kyle says, I came by bike and also got a little bit difficult owing to heavy traffic. Kyle, not I came by bike. It's a little bit awkward. we would say, I rode my bike. So students, past tense, how did you get to this exam? Repeat after me. I rode my bike to the exam. It was a bit tricky because of heavy traffic, and I was hoping to save some time by riding my bike instead of driving or taking public transportation. Okay. Amar Wadi says, I just followed the instructions on my phone through Google Maps and got here on foot. It took me about 20 minutes. And in this way, I was able to get a bit of exercise and have some time to review my notes. Okay, all right. Amar, so again, students, put in your reasons. Why did you go by foot? Why did you go by bike? Or why did you go on bike? Or why did you go by bus? So think about those, okay? Ferdov says, I drove my Skoda Rapid car and it took about 30 minutes because of traffic. Otherwise, it would have only taken 15. So Ferdovs, again, show that grammar if possible. So I drove my car and it took about 30 minutes owing to heavy traffic. Otherwise, it would have only taken about 15. Nevertheless, it was more comfortable than taking public transit. Okay, and my reason is included there. So why did I drive my car? Because it was more comfortable than public transit. So I'm pushing you for those high band scores. Repeat after me. How did you get to this exam? I drove my car and it took about 30 minutes owing to heavy traffic. Otherwise, it would have only taken about 15. One more time on this, students. Otherwise, it would have only taken about 15. Notice I don't say minutes here. In natural language, native speakers will often omit the word minutes the second time because it's understood from this 30 minutes. So let's go from the top again. I know it looks simple, but this is a fairly advanced phrase, even as short as it is. So repeat after me. I drove my car and it took about 30 minutes owing to heavy traffic. Otherwise, it would have only taken about 15. Nevertheless, it was more comfortable than taking public transit. Would have taken. It's present perfect combined with condition. Okay? So fairly complex. Very natural, very accurate. Here we go. Let's talk about sport. This is part one. Some questions on a general topic. Let's talk about sport. What team sport is most popular in your country? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this question. What team sport is most popular in your country? So Carolina Sanyo says, I might say that soccer is the most recognizable team sport in Colombia because most of the people enjoy playing that sport and Colombians encourage, and then it keeps going. All right, Carolina, it sounds like you have a good answer for that one. You're using American English, right, with the word soccer. British English, they do say football, just like most other parts of the world. Both are okay, Carolina, but if you say soccer, make sure you stay with soccer. Don't switch to football because then it's confusing, right? Because American football is different. So if you start with football, stay with football, all right? Satisfying Times says the most famous team in Algeria is the national team. It's really a great team full of young, gifted players. What team sport, not what team. Careful, satisfying times. You would lose marks there. If you talk about the most popular team in your country, your mark will go down because it's team sport. Team sports include football, right? Cricket. Okay. Volleyball. Water polo in Hungary. It's maybe, I think soccer's probably, or football's more popular in Hungary as well, but water polo is maybe a close second. So there are lots of team sports. It's asking about a team sport. If for this one you answered tennis, you're probably going to lose marks. Okay, tennis is not, or in Japan, somebody might say judo. But then they would probably lose marks. If you're Japanese, you would probably want to go with baseball instead. Although I know football has become very popular in Japan and South Korea as well these days. All right, so make sure you choose a team sport. Let's see. Ishan says, one of the oldest soccer teams in my country is Persepolis. They are about 60 years old. So Ishan, again, same thing. You're losing marks because we're not talking about the team. We're talking about the team sport. Team here is an adjective. It's not the noun. Okay, this is the noun in the sentence. This is the subject. This is the adjective that defines the subject of sport. Careful, students, careful. Okay, so if you start talking about your team, the famous team, the reason why you lose a lot of marks is because you become incoherent. So your coherence mark plummets, and even if you sound natural and complex, your band scores really slide because you lose a lot of marks for being incoherent. All right. The most popular, and I'm going to go with my home country of Canada, team sport in Canada has always been ice hockey, as the country is cold in many regions for most of the year. So people can often play hockey outside, and because of its popularity, Canada is one of the strongest hockey nations in the world. Okay? I want to say the strongest, but I don't want to sound arrogant, but I just said it. Okay, so repeat after me. What team sport is most popular in your country? The most popular team sport in Canada has always been ice hockey, as the country is cold in many regions for most of the year, so people can often play hockey outside. And because of its popularity, Canada is one of the strongest hockey nations in the world. Okay, so I repeated the word popular. Okay, you can paraphrase, so you can say the most widely played or the most favored team sport. That's okay. But more importantly, again, give the answer, use some complex language, join your ideas with words like so and, give reasons so people can often play hockey outside. If football is popular in your country, explain why it's popular. Okay. All right, students, doing a great job so far. Let's take another minute or two here for questions. Now that you have seen a little bit more of speaking part 1, how to answer, do you have any questions about speaking, especially speaking part 1 so far? Okay. While you think about that, I'll read a couple more answers for the previous. So Jancy, Jose says, cricket, I would say, is the most famous team sport in India, although hockey is considered our national sport. This is because of an involvement of many celebrities in this game. Okay. Jancy, is that ice hockey or field hockey? Okay, Kisan is asking a good question. And so Kisan, this is again Kisan. So Kisan says, how do I create ideas? Okay, there are two ways. Of course, one is visualize. So see information. Okay, and there's two ways to do this, Kisan. So the first is see information from big to small. Okay. Okay, so think about the idea of hockey, and then see children playing outside in winter. Okay, now you can reverse that. So you can go the other way, which is small to big. Okay, which means first see children playing outside, or Canada winning the gold medal in the 2010 Winter Olympics for hockey, and then see the game of hockey. Okay, so I know people tell you use your imagination, visualize, and that's great. So I want to give you a little bit more about that strategy. For some questions, it's better to start with the small. So try to visualize or imagine a specific situation. See children playing cricket at school, and then expand your idea from there. Okay, so think from top to bottom, but also think from bottom back towards the top. So be able to reverse the processing of the funnel in your thinking, in your visualization, like this or like this. Okay, that's very effective for your task 2 writing as well. Okay, and then of course, the other way to generate ideas is in your mind, ask yourself, as you're listening to the question, practice this at home. So what would 9 from 10 people say to this question? Okay, there's actually a game like this as well that you can play. There's a TV show called Family Feud, which is a game show that's built on this concept. So ask yourself, what would 9 from 10 people say to this question? And then you might think, aha, yeah, if I asked 10 people in India, what's the most popular sport? I think most people would probably say cricket. In Brazil, probably 10 out of 10 people would say football. Okay. All right. Let's take another one here. So Nguyen Thien is asking, I wonder, should I answer short or long for part 1? Thien, your answer should be 2 to 3 sentences maximum. Okay. Definitely don't just give one short answer. So if you answer in one, so this is Tien Nguyen. And Tien is asking, I wonder, should I answer short or long? So here's my response to that. Even if you answer with one sentence, then it should be a complex sentence with an answer and explanation at the minimum. So I'll give you an example. I think that hockey is the favorite sport for Canadians because it is not only played by most people, but also televised more than any other team sport. Okay. Televised means shown on television. It's not really a word I ever write. Here we go. So here is a one-sentence answer, Tien. So the answer is, I think that hockey is the favorite sport of Canadians. And right away, I answer because. So I don't stop my sentence at Canadians. If you stop there, you're going to get, even if you have perfect English, you're going to get at most a band 7.5, maybe an 8. That's with perfect English. Okay? But if you want a band 9, you have to expand. You have to show complex language. You can get a band 9 if, with one sentence answers to part 1, but then it has to have this level of complexity. So I think that hockey is the favorite sport for Canadians because it is not only played by most people, but also televised more than any other team sport. That's fine, but definitely you don't want to say something like, oh, it's hockey. Okay, oh, it's hockey. You can sound perfectly natural with perfect pronunciation, Tien. You still will not get a band 9. Okay, you still will not get a band 9. All right, let's keep going. Here's our next question. Again, students, if I didn't answer your question, you have an important question, just send it to me, adrian@aehelp.com, okay? Let's look at the next question here. Do you play any sports? If yes, which ones? So, do you play any sports? If yes, which ones? Okay, Sevgi Rabia says, to be honest, playing sports is not my thing. However, if I had to choose, I would go with basketball, since I think basketball is a sport that is really exciting to watch. Sevgi, that's great. So Sevgi's answer is a band 9 because Sevgi doesn't just say, to be honest, playing sports is not my thing. Stop. Okay, why is it not your thing, right? Or what would you do if you could play sports? So don't just stop by saying, no, I don't like sports. Sevgi, you were very clever to say, however, if I had a choice or if I had to choose, you're showing me, Sevgi, that you know conditional. So, however, if I had to choose, I would go with basketball since I think basketball is a sport that is really exciting to watch. Very good, Sevgi. Very nice answer. That's a band 9 response to that question. Sheng Hung says, I play basketball on the weekend with my friends because it is not only good for health, but also gives a chance to my friends and me to get together. Sheng Hung, really nice. So notice another great strategy here by this student, Sheng Hung. So Sheng Hung is using that inverted funnel. Remember, students, I said you can think about the big, like I like to play basketball. Just this last weekend I played with my friends. Or you can reverse that as Sheng Hung did. Sheng Hung maybe visualized playing basketball with his friends first. So he started with that. I play basketball on the weekends with my friends because it's not only good for health, but it gives us a chance to get together. So my favorite sport is basketball. So it's going from the small back out to the big. Okay? So I play basketball with my friends on the weekends because it gives us a chance to get together and socialize, as well as get some great exercise. In fact, We just shot a great game of hoops last Saturday. And I scored about 8 baskets. Okay, some nice natural language for you. So repeat after me, students. Do you play any sports? If yes, which ones? I play basketball with my friends on the weekends because it gives us a chance to get together and socialize as well as get some great exercise. In fact, we just shot a great game of hoops last Saturday and I scored about 8 baskets. That's the smooth flowing example that I was telling you about at the beginning of class. Students, here are 3 more questions for you to try on your own at home. Which sports do you avoid playing? Why do you think it's important to do sports regularly? And have you been to a professional sporting event? What did you think about it? So answer these 3 questions on your own. Record your answers on your phone. Send them to me, to Adrian, A-D-R-I-A-N, at aehelp.com by email, by MP3. Please, MP3, because I don't need to download that. I can open it directly through the email. So Adrian at aehelp.com for those last 3 questions, and I'll send you back a quick email with an estimate of your band score. So what band your speaking is for those answers, okay? I will do that for you completely free of charge. To get lots more help and to really improve quickly, do spend a couple dollars. Check us out at aehelp.com for academic IELTS. That looks like this with the blue background. Again, if you're a student in Saudi Arabia, you can even register your next exam through us. Just send us an email. And if you are looking for general, then find us at gieltshelp.com. That's it for this class for today. Tomorrow, we will do speaking part 2 with members chat. Everybody can watch. And then we will do a listening section 1 and 2 for everybody. Abhishek, you are most welcome. Hikmatilo, you are very, very welcome. Carolina, welcome as always. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. Remember the strategies from this class. Check out our other videos. Download our app. We're here to help you succeed. Bye for now. Have a great rest of your day.